Just looking back at the Old Dominion win, thought it was a great team win. Talked to our guys all week about having an edge to them on the road, making sure that we do all the things to go out there and win a football game. I thought we had a good team win, though. We got off to a slow start, but then we had a turnover with Coco there that gave the ball to the offense, and then I really felt like after that got momentum in our favor. So it was a great win on the road. And then going into this week, we got a great opponent playing against Army. Ought to be a great atmosphere. They're a really good football team facing an offense, a triple option that we haven't seen, and that's always hard to defend. And then obviously it limits your possessions offensively, so we got to make the most of our possessions. But I know our kids will be really excited to go play this game back at home. With that being said, any questions?
Tyson, how do you prepare to play the triple option when they're one of the few teams in the country that do run that offense?
Yeah, I think your mindset goes to, from a defensive standpoint, how do you position your best players? I think about a D'Angelo Malone or Juwan and what are their best skill traits and how do you utilize them to face the triple option, and how do you position your linebackers? Because you're facing something you don't ever see. And the biggest thing for our defense is to make sure, hey, look, we need second and long situations. You need a 2nd and 8, a 2nd and 9. This offense is built on 3-4 yard gains. It's a long, slow death if they're consistent on that. So we got to do that and stretch the ball laterally. Don't let them get anything inside. Stretch it laterally. Don't let them get those 3-4 yard gains. And then offensively, you are limited with your possessions. You're not going to get as many snaps. So when you start to think about game planning and how you're going to attack them, some of those plays are limited. You just don't have those many chances. So what puts you in the best position? What are the best plays? Because you're just not going to get that many plays.
Just how big is it for this defense, considering how well they've played progressively for each week to now face something that is always just a real challenge for defenses overall, and it's really a test of where they're at?
Yeah, it's another great test for us defensively. I think they've had different tests every week, different challenges every week, and it's just another great challenge for them. It's something they haven't seen a lot of, so they'll need to be ready to, and they're going to make their plays. Army's going to make their plays, and they're going to make it a good football game. But we got to be able to position ourselves defensively where we can limit their explosive plays. Just can't give them anything easy.
Just knowing Army's on the schedule, has there been any extra prep, whether that's in the spring or throughout the fall?
Yeah, we did. That's a great question. In spring, we actually designated 10 minutes every day of practice for that. Same thing in fall camp. We designated actually a whole period, so that was about 15 minutes of practice. So our guys have gotten a lot of reps just to prepare for it, because there's so much you got to be ready for. You just can't install it in game week. So there's a lot of retention there of what we're about to do tomorrow, so they understand the calls, they understand what they need to be in. So that's helped a lot for our defense.
Tyson, how good was it to see Gage kind of get going again, get over that 100-yard mark again after kind of struggling the past couple weeks?
Yeah, and it really, I don't think it was necessarily, the Gage struggling. It was just, hey, run offense. I thought we didn't control the line of scrimmage, in the 2 past games like we wanted to. I thought our offense took a lot of pride in saying, hey, we got to get back on track. We did want to establish the run. As I got in the game and I saw how the game was going and I knew our defense was playing great, I said, we have got to establish a good run game here, because Old Dominion was good in the run. And it was good to see a lot of open holes there. Gage made 3 or 4 really good runs. I thought he was really patient with it, let things happen, let the blocks get set up. It was good to see that. He did have the 1 turnover, which was disappointing to see. We got to make sure that doesn't happen. But that's what I want to do in the run game. If we can be in that 100-yard range, 120-yard range rushing, it really helps you in the passing game. And I think it allowed Ty. We were 21 of 28, and we did some things with Ty. We let him get the ball out fast, put it on the perimeter, get it into our skill players' hands where it wasn't too hard for him. And so from the game plan standpoint, I thought we were able to do all the things we wanted to do. disappointed on the obvious things. We don't connect on the power pass for an easy touchdown. We take the sack right before the half, which now we don't get any points out of that. We had the 2 turnovers in the possession 2 and 3 of the game that really put our defense in a bad situation. Those are the things offensively we have got to correct, got to be able to get consistent. I see our offense getting better, but we got to be able to say, don't put yourselves in those bad situations, finish the drives, all those things that I've said over and over again.
The Army's played already 2 Conference USA opponents in Texas, San Antonio, and then Rice. How does this game also help you kind of see where you stack up against the rest of the conference?
It does. Anytime they play a conference opponent, you understand your conference opponents. You understand what they have. So yeah, it does help you some. I thought Rice did a really good job early on of being able to. I think they lost 14-7, something like that. But really being able to position themselves to go win the game. When you play a team like Army, I think they do everything perfect. They never make mistakes. They're always in the right position. They're not going to have talent-wise. They're about the same talent as we are. They got a couple, 2, 3, 4 really good players, and then everybody else is just a bunch of hard-nosed grinders. And that's the beauty of college football, because if everybody's doing their job, doing what they're supposed to do, you're going to be a good football team. They've shown that over and over and over again. So I think from a talent standpoint, we match up. So it really comes down to is how well do you run your scheme? How well do you execute the calls that are made? Those are the things that decide the win in the football game. It won't be because one player was more talented than the other player.
Tyson, it seems like week in, week out, D'Angelo Malone just keeps on getting better and better. Are you seeing anything different from him in practice, or he's just picking up things better than he did?
No, I don't. D'Angelo's a guy. He's a high motor guy. He loves the game of football. You get in a rhythm of the season. You kind of just, as you play every game, you find that rhythm, and he seems to be finding it. I think Coach White's done a good job of putting him in position to make plays. I think back to Old Dominion, Clayton said, hey, we're going to let him spy the quarterback a little bit, where you didn't see D'Angelo rush every down. He took a step or two, and then he hung back. And then when the quarterback went to run, then he triggered and made the play, or it allowed him to see where the run was going, and then he was able to play over the top. And so I think Coach White's done a good job of positioning him to make plays. And he is, he's one of our better defensive players. So anytime you can put a guy in a good position to make the plays, and he's building confidence on that. And he's got a lot of guys around him, though, that are really helping him. I look at Juwan Jones on the other side. Juwan's setting an edge right there where he's not letting the ball get around him. So the ball's forced to be inside, and it's allowing D'Angelo to wrap over the top to make that tackle. That's a huge part of it. Our D tackle's inside. They're not giving up a lot with the inside run. So now the ball is spitting out on the perimeter. Now D'Angelo's able to make the play. So it's really just good team defense overall.
Outside of Kyle Bailey, you're rotating a lot of other guys at the linebacker spot. Just what's the thought process going into getting those other guys? Are you looking for somebody to be established, or you just like the rotation there?
I think 2 things go into it. One, what's the team you're playing? What is their offensive scheme, and what skill traits do we have at linebacker that match up with that? That's why you see some rotation there. If they're in tight sets, there's linebackers that I think are more box guys for us, and then they're open sets. There's guys that cover in space a little better, so you get a little bit of that rotation. The second thing is we don't feel like anybody's just a step ahead of the other guy. So to save a guy and not get him tired and all those things, we roll guys. And that's why you keep seeing a lot of different rotation there. I would think other than Kyle, like you said, Kyle's been pretty consistent. Everybody else has they're pretty similar as far as their skill traits and those kind of things. So we like to rotate those guys, keep everybody fresh.
Before he got ejected, Damon Lowe was playing one of his better games. He's not played a whole lot outside of that. What sort of attributed to that, and what allowed him to have the game that he had Saturday before that call?
Well, I think, this past game against Old Dominion was Damon's kind of game. They were going to run the football. They were a ball control offense. Damon's a big linebacker. So we felt like, he was a good fit for this game, and he did. He came in there, made a lot of good tackles inside the box, was good in pass coverage too, broke up a pass or two. So really that game fit him. It was great to see him have that game. Disappointing on the call with the targeting. As a coach, I understood it was helmet to helmet, but there's 3 factors that go into targeting, and 2 out of the 3 he didn't meet. One, his head was up. He hit him with the face mask. He didn't launch, and he didn't hit with the crown of the helmet. And you have to meet all 3 factors for targeting. And I felt like he only met one of those factors. It was helmet to helmet. So, that was disappointing to see because, he's suspended for a half of this first game. So we'll definitely insert him once that second half, we get into the second half, but really feel like he's done a good job.
Tyson, Josh Simon only has 8 catches this season, but half of them are for touchdowns. How much of a weapon has he become for you guys down in that red zone area?
Yeah, he's a big weapon for us. Every week we're trying to create plays for him when we get down there. Out in the field, we've tried to create some things, but how we set up offensively, you see how the ball gets dispersed, and it really can go to a lot of different guys. So for us, it's harder to control. All right, this ball is going to Josh no matter what. We can do that. I just don't feel like we're at a point offensively where we just need to feature that one particular guy. But when we get in the red zone, now you can start to set some things up for particular players, and we've been able to do that successfully for Josh. He's a big athletic guy, great ball skills. He's hard to cover, and so we over and over again we've been able to position him. Made a great catch. I thought Ty made a great throw on the last touchdown. Both of them did a tremendous job, but that play just shows what Josh brings to the table.
Did you kind of expect that production from him as a freshman?
I did, yeah. We got him in here in the spring, was able to work with him and kind of see what he had, and knew right away we could utilize him. I do like, and not just, to get away from Josh a little bit, we do have a lot of guys offensively that offer different things, and that's why you see the ball dispersed the way it does. The screen game, you look, I think of JP, we threw in a Dayton Wade in there, and he did a nice job, you got the big bodies on the outside with a Quinn, so if they're pressed man, you're able to throw a fade, and so those are the things I do like about us offensively. I think we have some pieces there to be able to put guys in position to go make those plays.